All right, we're going to take a few minutes and explore the Google Slideshows, Google Slides, which is the Google version of Google Docs version of PowerPoint. So if we open up our launcher, go into All Apps, and you will see here it's a yellow in color. It's called Google Slides. So if I'm going to open my Google Slides, this is going to give me the option of being able to see what slides are already created, and I can create a new presentation. Remember, the other way is, and the other way to get into it, the way you would the Sheets or Google Docs, you can go in straight into your Drive, your Google Drive, click on New, and then create a new Google Slides presentation. When it opens up, it's going to give you your basic setup, but you can't go through and click anything yet. You can't go through and open anything because it's going to first ask you to add a theme. Now, it's very limited. The basic themes are very limited, but you can go through. There are many places online that you can go through and just search for Google slide themes, and there are tons and tons and tons of themes that are available that you can import. In order to import them, you just import, and then you would be able to do the presentation by uploading them, selecting file on your computer. You would download the theme, then you would upload it into your Sheets presentation. Now notice here I closed out of it. This is just the basic white and black theme. Nothing important, nothing fancy. If I need to go back and change it, even after I've created the presentation, I can go back and change the theme by going to Slide and Change Theme. The other thing that it's going to ask you here on the slide size, are you dealing with a 4:3, which is the standard old CRT TV size, the 4:3 aspect ratio, 16:9 aspect ratio, which is what most TVs and computer screens are, and then a widescreen 1610, which is going to be more of a theatrical screen or a movie theater screen of a 1610. So I'm going to leave it at 16:9. That's pretty standard and basic. Nowadays, everybody has a 16:9 screen somewhere in their house or is using a projector that's projecting the 16:9 aspect ratio. I'm also going to use, I'm going to click this theme and click OK. And then this is going to be where I'm going to add my title. Now, before I start creating or building, remember everything's saved automatically into my drive, so I'm not having to worry about, am I going to lose something if I forget to click save? What happens if the machine locks up or if it shuts down, which doesn't usually happen on a Chromebook. But if you're dealing with a Windows-based machine or a Mac-based machine and you're using a Chrome browser and you're building these things, remember everything's saved in your drive automatically. First thing we want to do, though, is we are going to want to go into my untitled presentation and give it an example presentation and tell it OK. It's going to change the name so that we keep things up and running. So I'm going to just call it a title, and then how to use Google Slides. There. So I've given it a title and a subtitle, and then I might want to change some things, change the look of it. I'm not really wild about the gray, but it's okay. I'll leave it alone. But I can change the background, and that's going to be a little bit different on each one of the themes. The background, what it's referring to as the background. In this case, it's just the kind of paint splotches in the back of the presentation. And I can either do done, which would apply just to this slide, or I can click apply to all and done. And that way, anytime I add anything new, it's going to automatically create a new slide layout or a new slide with the color in the background. When I need to create new slides, I can either click the plus button and it's going to automatically add a title and text slide, or I can click on the little drop-down menu and I can create a title with a 2-column text. I can create a title with no text. I can create a caption slide. Caption slides where I'm going to go out and get images and drag them in or insert them from a file. In order to insert, you would have downloaded your image. You would click on image, and then you can do it from your Google Drive or from your downloads. or you can go to your albums and search. If you have your Google Plus dot or your pictures, or you can take a snapshot with your camera or go to a URL or upload it. If you're uploading and it's downloaded, you can just drag it up and drop it into your presentation. You would also add a caption. I'm going to just say caption text there if you had an image that you were putting in place. If you're slide 1 and information on slide 1. And then I'm going to create my slide 2 and information on slide 2. Very basic and to the point. Now the other things that you can see in here is you can take and when you have it open, I want to create a bulleted list by clicking here onto the bulleted list if I need to create a numbered list rather than a bulleted list. And then I do have options here on what kind of bullets that I want to use, what kind of icons that I want to use for my information. I notice it doesn't do it for each slide. You can have it set in your default in your master slides to default to creating bulleted slides. You can also, when you push your enter key, it's going to add it. You can use your tab key or your shift and tab and to indent or to bring it back out. So as you're moving through that, you can change those things. You will find in your file menu, everything is pretty basic in here. You got new slides, open, rename, make a copy, move to a folder, trash it, import slides from another presentation. If you want to change your default language, download as. This is if you're having to turn it in somewhere else. Then you can go to download as a PowerPoint file, a PDF document, a scalable vector graphics. The other one the three that you're going to use mainly would be your PowerPoint, your PDF, or your PNG. Now a PNG is a basic image file that's used rather than JPEG. It's a little bit more compressed, but it still gives you pretty good clarity and pretty good resolution. What I can do there is I would end up download as PNG, but it's only going to download the slide that you're working on. So it's not going to download the entire presentation. It's only going to download that one individual slide. You can go and download each slide individually as image slides, and that would be in the event people might be saying, well, why would I want to do that? You may want to do that if you are building a Google Docs document, a word processing document that you're needing to import this image. You want to say, hey, you need to look at this slide. You could actually download the slide and import that picture into your Google Docs document. Something a little bit more advanced if you're getting into that. But for the basic things, if you're wanting to download an image of just that slide, you don't have to do a screenshot and then edit it. You could go straight to File and then download as a PNG file. Publish it to the web. What this would do is if I click Publish to Web, it's going to say, hey, I'm going to transition the slides every 3 seconds. I can change this to every second, 2 seconds, 3, 5, every minute. Start slideshow as soon as the player loads, and restart the slideshow after the last slide. You can leave those two unchecked if you want to, but you don't have to. Are you sure you want to publish this selection? Yes. This is basically that sharing element without going through share. So I can copy it, paste that presentation, push enter, and now it's going to transition. There's slide 1. It transitions automatically to slide 2, and there's slide 3, and then transition to slide 4. That's the end of my presentation, and now it's going to go back to the beginning. So it's just going to cycle through that. Where this would come in handy is if you're needing to turn in this document, or you're needing to make this presentation very quickly and easily. You could publish it. You could create a URL for your item, and then you wouldn't have to worry about logging in or having someone else's computer. So if you're in a classroom setting or in a college class setting and you're needing to give a presentation, you don't have to log into your account. You don't have to take your computer or your tablet. As long as there's a computer set up on the projector, you can enter a URL or web address, and your presentation is going to start rolling. The other thing that's a useful tool is goo.gl. This is a Google address shortener. It's a URL shortener. So what I could do here is I'm going to take my shortener, I'm going to shorten the URL so that rather than having that really, really long presentation or really, really long URL, it shortens it to this right here, goo.gl/m0qjps. That way I could just come here, paste that in place, or write it down. That's something easy to type in, makes it quick, and there's my presentation again. So it's going to give you that functionality. If you're having to make this presentation somewhere and you're not wanting or won't be able to take your personal computer, your Chromebook, your phone, your tablet to make the presentation, as long as there's a computer that has web access, you'll be able to type in that web address and your slide's going to start rolling right as soon as you get into it. If you don't want it to start rolling, if you want to be able to make the changes or to have it do it on its own, or where you're having to click through it, make sure you don't click start slideshow as soon as the player loads, and make sure you don't click restart slideshow as last slide. Leave those unchecked, publish it, and then you would be able to control it with a keyboard and mouse, where you could use your arrow keys to transition to the next slide. Speaking of transitions, you can click on one, click on transition, and notice right now it says no slide transition. So I can click here and click fade, and it would allow me to apply to all slides, or I could apply to just this slide. If I didn't click apply to all slides, then I'd have to go through and click fade for each one of them, and how fast is that transition going to happen. So if I click play, it's going to show me what those slide transitions would look like. From there, you can add transition, you can change them, you can change your theme also at the top. If you need to insert images, you would be able to click insert image. We already spoke about that just a few minutes ago, but you'd be able to insert the image and upload that image and transition that image also. Some of the other things that you're going to see in here, you can change your order of the slides and where they go. If you need to just change the order of the slide, if it's out of order, you just click and drag, and it's going to move those slides around. So you can just move it where you want it to go, like so. So that's a quick look at the presentation slides, how to use it, and then how to share and present. If you are wanting to just present straight out of here, you could click present. It's going to go full screen, and then you could use your mouse or your keyboard to transition from one slide to the next. When you get to the end, it won't do anything. It's always advisable to put in a blank slide at the very end so that you know that you have reached the end of your document. Again, this automatically saves in your Google Drive. In order to move it, you could click on it one time and drag it and drop it into training examples or wherever you want it to drag and drop it. You can publish it, you can share it, and those functions are still available.